So what does Tim Ferriss do at 2 in the morning besides drink Portuguese white wine and watch The Bourne Identity for the 157th time? He does pen tricks, which is what he does all the time as his own fidget. So, enough of talking in third person. Let's check out some pen tricks. So, we're going to do these roughly in order of difficulty, but they may be slightly out of order. Alright, so this is called the helicopter. Pretty obvious. I'm just going to give you a little showcase of things to come first. So you can get a pretty good idea of what's possible just by looking at that. So helicopter is so named because of the motion, just like that. And I recommend you use a Bic because it's relatively well balanced and the right diameter. Okay, so what we're doing here is pushing this down so that the thumb, the middle finger is at the very center of the pen in the back, and the thumb is about one thumb width away from the center on top. Alright, the top of the thumb, meaning the part that's parallel to the ground there, is going to be parallel to the ground. And here I'm pushing the pen into both my index and middle finger, and then I'm essentially snapping these two. And it spins across the back of my thumb, like so. And you can do that all day long. And that's probably the most common that you'll see in Japan and Taiwan. And the really good kids will do it one way and then knock it back the other way. I can't do that. Alright, so the drummer, so named because you'll see guys like Tommy Lee do that. Alright, now if you look at it from that angle, it looks like it's going up and down, and it looks very cool. If you look at it from the front, it's actually just that type of motion. So really what I'm doing is moving the top two fingers back and forth as this spins right in front of the first knuckle, like so. And the way you get that spin started is I'm pulling down with my index finger, so the middle finger is basically a brace, pushing down with the top finger, and then I'm catching the back of the pen in this little web. And then as soon as I pull this back, it gets that initial spin. And then you keep it going with these two fingers. Looks pretty cool. Alright, then we have I suppose what I would call the pincher, and the reason I'm going to call that, none of these things have names as far as I know, looks like that. And the reason I call it the pincher, it's very hard to see what this motion is. This is actually the first one I learned, but one of the hardest. It's the same motion that I'm using to get that Tommy Lee spin started, but it's in between my middle and my ring finger. And as it flips through, I'm going to catch it in between my index and my ring finger, so it looks like that. And then it swings behind, and I catch it back in this position. So it looks like this. Like that, very slowly. Okay, that's what it looks like faster. If that makes sense. Okay? And you can either push down here, or you can do it on the thumb itself. And that's what it looks like. And when you get better at it, you can do it from different positions. You can start here, for example, like that, and then go up. Or you can even, it's a little hard to do this looking through the camera. So I just skipped these two fingers and went from here to here. Alright, so you can get tricky with it. Alright, the wheel was what I'll call this one here. It's one of the easier ones. Okay, and then you can mix it all together. Really all you're doing is I'm pushing off of the thumb here between these two fingers, and it's doing a straight circle through like that, and you end up in this somewhat awkward position, and you can segue into a different move. So it looks like that. We'll just call that the wheel. That's probably the easiest. You'll see that I'm just pushing it down, and then I'm this very familiar pushing with the middle finger, pretty similar to how we started the last move, but instead of going in a circle like that, we're pushing down on the top of the thumb, so it's further extended on the fingertips, coming straight back like a wheel. Alright, and then the last one that we'll have is what I'll call the flip, and pretty self-explanatory. Looks like that. So, now that sound you just heard, you will hear thousands and thousands of times. Alright. Alright, well, so much for ending with a flourish, but it looks like that. And the better you get, you can actually keep your hand flat on a table and flip it and catch it without moving your hand at all, like that. Alright, so that would be the flip. And the way you do that, again, the same motion, but you're going to be flicking out with your ring finger to get the extension so it goes away from your hand. It's going to rotate fully and it's going to land right here in the writing position. Like that. Alright, and then you put it all together. You can do all sorts of fancy stuff. So I can do a wheel to the pincer to the helicopter to the Tommy Lee and so forth and so on. We'll get to the point where you'll do this while reading a newspaper and it'll drive everybody absolutely apeshit. So, have fun. If you don't have OCD already, this will give it to you. Signing off.